Lower set. Oh, there's too much. Yeah. But you see how it is. It's just kind of a all for me.
Association, you got 6 foot patio on the property. I know, but it's the same rule. Why is it 6 foot?
Is everybody signed in that wants to speak up here tonight?
I said that.
Okay, it's 6:30, we'll call the meeting to order. We'll start off with roll call. Councilperson Holdhouse. Here. Councilperson Bendel. Here. Councilperson Vasquez.
Here.
Councilperson Hubert. Here. Councilperson Johnson.
Here.
United States pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We will go to the public input. We'll start off with the SRF water loan there. Corey Schroeder.
Do we want to wait until we're in public hearing for that?
We can. We'll wait for a public hearing and we'll go after that.
Maybe just one that says public input for now, and then the others can speak during the public.
Want to do the other public input then? Okay. Richard Smith.
I don't feel that we need to, if they don't want the insurance, then that's most of the places I work at. You either take the insurance or you don't, but they don't get supplemented for it. I mean, that's, yeah, I like to give a compliment to the guy mowing. He seems to be doing for the weather, he's doing a good job out there mowing. I know he don't get too many praise on it, but yeah, I thought that was nice. He's been doing a good job.
Yep.
And that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Hazel Meyer.
Everything he said, basically.
Okay, very good. Motion to approve the consent agenda. Or if there's any questions.
I'll approve consent agenda.
Second. Been moved in second to approve the consent agenda. Any more discussion on that? If not, we'll vote. Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasquez.
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
And Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Okay, we will go into the public hearing.
Make a motion to go into the public hearing for the proposal on the general obligation of the water improvement loan and distribution agreement, principal amount not to exceed 1.25.
Second.
Been moved and second to go into the public hearing. We'll vote. Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasquez.
Yes.
And did I get you?
Yes.
Yes. And Councilperson Holthouse. Okay. Has there been any feedback or discussion on that?
I did actually, I think I just got, an email, I did not print it off, from Jen
Sure.
Value.
Yeah, I was just
Value.
looking over the, loan information, there was a spot that was talking about, taxation, or that there were no other loans, and it was like an appendix A, and there was nothing on there, so that, I was just asking that question.
So I actually sent that off to our bond counsel, that question, because we discussed that question, and the only, debt that needed to be placed on there was current water debt obligation, which the city does not have. So I sent that off to get a clarifying question regarding that, and I have not received a response yet, but I do plan to share that back with Jen as soon as we have it. It was actually what she's pointing out was a little bit confusing because the larger document has Exhibit A, which is the principal payment schedule that is in there, and then a second Exhibit A, which was blank, which I think is what she's referencing. So I did go ahead and send that off to bond counsel since they prepare all the proceedings for us, just for that clarification. Other than that, Ryan, did we have any other, no, we did not have other questions that came through City Hall. The two people that are listed that want to speak during this time,
Okay, yeah.
do they want to speak regarding one or the other, or just both?
Kind of both.
Okay,
Okay,
so this is the bond, or this is the public hearing for the 1.25 million. So if you'd like to,
Corey Schroeder?
My name is Corey Schrader. I live at 210 Grace. Been living there about 9 years. All right. I come before you tonight just to implore the council to consider the fact that we are still paying for a water treatment plant. And now we're talking about taking out a total of $3-point-something million to put in a water tank that we really don't need yet. I'm not gonna argue the fact that we're gonna need that. We don't need it now. Why not wait until we're done paying for the sewer plant and we know the sewer plant is gonna handle the extra capacity that's gonna come from that tank before we spend $3.2 million to put in something that can wait? There's no good reason to spend that money today, especially when interest rates are high and the economy is on the edge. I think we're headed in the right direction, but we're not there yet. How much money would we save by saving 2 or 3 points of interest? By just waiting a year or two. And then we can close out that other debt before we take on more debt for the city. We need the tank because of projected growth. Got it. But what's gonna kill growth? The price of water and the price of property tax. What are these loans gonna do to those? They're both going up. So we're gonna put something in place for the growth that we're killing. I don't think it's necessary now. Yes, in the future, it will be. But we got the plans in place, we know what it's gonna cost, we got the land, everything is prepared. Let's just pause and wait. There's no good reason not to. That's all I got.
Thank you. Richard Smith.
The meetings I was to earlier, I thought we already approved the tank. At first, the other engineer suggested we go with this huge tank, and now we just got a smaller tank than what he first was saying. I think it's like half the size. No? You
no,
still
it's
going
still
with the
the
big?
same tank.
Okay, I was understanding this.
It was a building.
Oh, the building you went
The
small?
building was the one that we redid because the
Okay.
cost was too high.
But Didn't we already agree on
Yes, tonight is,
We had a first reading.
it? First reading is tonight, or
Well,
second
no.
reading?
no, tonight is our public hearing about going into our loan commitments. So we've approved the water storage tank, the pump house, we've awarded the bids. This is going in to actually agree upon our loans and how it will be paid for.
So what other options you have to pay for it?
Well, we don't. We've shared those over the last year and a half, which was how we started exploring those options over the last year and a half. So this is what the city has come up with in terms of the two loans, which after public, if anybody would like me to share that then after your input, I'm certainly willing to do that during the public hearing tonight. But I'll wait until you're finished.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hazel Meyer.
Okay.
Good pass? Okay, thank you.
Just like writing his name.
I would like to hear what Jennifer has to say about all that.
Well, I certainly don't need to be the only one up here saying it because the full council, aside maybe from the
I was
two
gonna
of
say,
you. So, are you guys fine? So actually, these are two separate public hearings because they're two separate obligations. So I just want to share a little bit, and the council please jump in because sometimes I do make mistakes. So this timeline started back in 2023. So Corey, you make the point of, why do we need to do it right now? So the discussions, just so everyone's clear, actually started in 2023, which was with a water study that happened with the DNR. So during that 2023 study is when the DNR basically projected out what the needs were going to be by the city, and then gave the city a timeline in that this construction project would need to be in place completed, I believe, by 2026, or then it becomes the DNR to basically say you've not met the requirements that you need.
Let me just
Yeah.
clarify. The study was put together by a consultant, not the DNR.
Yes, sorry,
So the
but those
requirements-
results then were,
So the consultant puts together, they do it basically, they look at your town, what your water demands are, capacity is.
Based on projected growth.
Projected growth, also water loss in the system, what your fire capacity, fire suppression,
pressure.
flow is, all of that. It's not like a 2-paragraph report. It's like a book like this. You can probably speak to it. a little
And it
better
is
job.
on our website.
But
So I can
But
share
it wasn't solely focused on the growth aspect. That's a huge part of it, and the growth that was projected was significant, and we would be behind. Secondly, the fire suppression or the fire protection, I guess is the right term. You've got to have enough water pressure to put out a fire at there's certain flow rates you got to have. At the growth that was projected, it wasn't going to keep up. I don't even think it was meeting at the time. So.
Well, and we actually had a real life example that happened last year during that time. We had a break was it a hydrant out at Green Miller area? And just to give you an idea, when that water broke and the response of our public works employees after hours, in a matter of 2 hours, we almost drained the entire tower, which then would have had the requirement of the boil water, all of that. But there was a quick response to it, and so that was actually one of the real life examples we were able to share last
Don't
year.
have 2 towers?
The drainable.
They only drink,
Yes.
all I heard was a tower. She just said tower,
Sorry.
sorry.
I think we had two 100,000 gallon towers, and I think we were very close to having a loss of water pressure, which is an extremely bad situation.
My biggest problem is the growth. It keeps getting talking about the growth. How many new homes are being built in Urbana? How many homes are for sale right now? Because people can't afford their taxes. I get emails and phone calls all the time. People they're wanting to move out of Urbana.
I can't speak to that. If I were to say what you just said, it would be a complete assumption, because when people call the city, if they're moving in or moving out, We do not ask the reason, and I would have no idea if someone,
I'm just asking,
moving
I
out
get, I
of
get these
taxes.
questions asked to me, where's the growth? If all these houses are for sale, where is the growth in Urbana at? We're losing people, we're not gaining people.
I think that's a pretty subjective statement.
Yeah.
I mean, you can look, I look at the listings frequently just to see what is moving and selling, and it's picked up in the last few weeks alone. The numbers in the consultant study reflect actual growth and projected growth, and the projected growth was very conservative. They have a way to put in a number that doesn't exceed realistic, growth potential. And we might exceed it, you never know, but right now it doesn't look the best because of home interest rates are high and
Yeah,
home prices are high.
Yeah, my taxes in the last 3 years have went up $1,000 per van.
And I think it's important to remember what you pay in taxes isn't.
Is it just reflecting the city?
Yeah.
No, I know it's like
40%.
40% of the school district.
Yeah.
I understand that, but
And I think the Urbana levy
We have
has been pretty much flatlined.
Okay.
I mean, obviously,
I'm new to this, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
I'm just curious on these.
It's flat line, but you appraise my house more, so that's taxes more. We don't.
We don't raise
No,
your
the
house.
county does, but it still comes back, you make more money off of it.
well, they capped that, the state passed a law capping what you can recapture as far as additional revenue from higher assessed values. But also cost of operation goes up every year as well, so even though, we still have to pay people modest raises, I would say, and just cost of operating the city goes up, so. I can't remember where we were going.
Yeah, so all the documents that you just referenced with the 2023 study and the timeline of everything that's happened is on the website. I can actually, I'd have to look it up, but if somebody out in the audience wants to look it up, they sure can. All of those documents are out there and they are for the public to review. We did that post back when we began having these conversations. If I can just go further, so the general obligation loan is an SRF loan. The city, when we first started having the conversations with a project of this size, we brought in the Sphere Financial consultant that the city uses. And it's her job to come in and explain to the council and the public, which we also did public hearings then too, and public forum for question and answers, to come in and really share with everyone, like, here are the performance for the water revenue. Here is what it would currently take the city in terms of paying back a loan. This is where your water rates would need to go. These are the options that the city has. So over a year ago when that started, I don't have that all exactly in front of me, but you guys can help me out. It started with, because the water did not have any increases since 2013, water rate increase, was it 2013? Sewer, yes, but the water was like 2013. During that time, she said because of that, to pay for a project this size, we were looking at 40% increase in water utility and $17 for a capital fee to help pay for this project. So over the course of exploring options that the city has, 2 months ago, at the meeting, was it June, that we shared the performance and we decided that the best option was the one that Maggie presented, which was the city take out a general obligation state revolving fund loan for $1.25 million. The city has the dollars available in our lost local option sales tax revenue to pay that full debt, principal, interest. And I think the first one was around $89,000 for each year then subsequent. It's about $89,000. By the city picking up that cost and using the local option sales tax funds that come into every municipality and school district, by using those dollars and city set aside dollars that were approximately $400,000 that the city has available in cash to help pay for this, that particular loan is going to be paid with lost dollars and not an increase in the taxpayer dollars. So by doing that, we will also then enter into a loan for the $2.376 million for the water revenue SRF. So with a water project like this, you have to receipt up is what they call it, which basically means that the city has to take in enough revenue just with our utility fund to show that we would be able to pay the principal interest on the loan plus the 110 factor, 110, right? A 110 factor, which means that we have to bring in enough revenue in that specific utility fund, which just water, not sewer, so it can't be both, to basically say, we're going to pay this and we're going to have a 1.10 factor left in our account for any other issue that may come up. So by doing these two options, these two separate SRF loans, the city was able to collect, starting last October, I think is when the increases went into effect. We did an increase of 20% to the utility on the both tiers, which was if you're a minimum user for usage as well as if you consume over 2,000 gallons. And then every property owner would be would have a $10 capital maintenance fee, which you would all have seen those in October. So then now, starting a month ago, so tonight would be our second reading of the water increases. We are only doing a 5% usage increase. So this would be a total 25% increase as opposed to the 40% that we would have had to do if we took out the water SRF loan at the, what would that have been, 3.6 million? If we would have done at the 3.6 million. And then that would go into effect if the council were to pass the second and third reading. It wouldn't go into effect until probably October, right, Ryan? Would that be probably October that the 5% increase would actually hit the bill? So I don't know. So obviously those repayments for that loan have to come out of the water utility fund. So the city is picking up basically the 1.25 with the dollars that are already coming in, which lost dollars have been earmarked typically in the city of Urbana for chip seal projects or infrastructure projects, street projects, things like that. Right now, the only thing, and into our capital improvement planning, the city specifically at the time, the council members, did not allocate use of the lost funds in the current CIP other than the chip seal, specifically because there was a conversation at the council level that they wanted to try and keep the rates for residents down as much as possible for this project coming up. So that's why the council did not put funds to be used by lost, which now we will add that to the capital plan, that 89,000 of it, the lost revenue will be used to pay this particular GO bond.
Also, I think it's important to note that using the state revolving funds, we get cheaper rates, so it's not, we're not borrowing it.
No.
So I don't remember, I think the projected rate in this one looking at 3.19 on the 1.25 and
I think it, yeah,
the SRF,
it was awfully low.
it's lower, I don't remember, I don't have it.
So how is this new tank going to stop us from, if you have a major, main blow, you said 2 hours they had it stopped. What's in this $3 million package that's gonna stop if it's a 4-hour blow before you can get it shut off? You know what I mean? You still gonna drain everything?
So with that incident,
It was.
they got an alert, they got the alarm, but they had to find it. They didn't have any way to find it, so they were driving all over town looking for this leak. We had 200,000 storage capacity now. I think the new tank is 500,000, so it buys you time essentially from.
So it ain't a for sure that we'll never have a boil.
If it's just 4 hours,
I don't think we could ever really say that, like if some water main broke and it was that extensive, I mean, you're talking about it would be taking out 700,000 gallons of water if that happened.
I mean,
So I don't think we could really say with pure confidence that that would never happen.
Well, I
But you
mean,
see
you're
very
talking-
quickly in Center Point that they had 2 water main breaks, I believe, just last year, and we're under a water boil twice. So I don't know that any of us, unless the city engineer would like to weigh in on that.
Having more
not-
storage is not gonna prevent water main breaks. I mean, that's just happens. Aging infrastructure,
Right,
a deep frost, various things. This just buys you more time, like Jeff said. And if there is a significant break, people's pressures aren't gonna drop significantly. Or if you have a break and there's a fire emergency, there'll still be enough backup storage for some fire suppression until the break was repaired. So it's not gonna prevent water main breaks, it just gives you more storage in case you have another big one. And a number of other factors, projected growth and everything else. And, so yeah, it's not a cure for water main breaks.
So more or less, the storage tank is just an insurance policy in case we have another incident, is what you're saying.
Yeah, and not just for water main breaks, if there is, you know, if you have a big fire, if you, if the subdivision up here, I mean, if you do get growth, you have more backup. You know, the other thing is eventually the city's gonna need to drill a new well. And when that time comes, they're gonna have to do it because groundwater right now, the aquifer, it's in high demand. You know, you're close enough to Cedar Rapids where, Trenton, we're gonna have to strike them irons hot when it comes time, when DNR says, you guys, it's time for a new well. That is gonna help that situation, if and when a new well gets drilled.
That's my other question, because we did this study and essentially we're getting ahead of the DNR. What happens if it comes to the point that the DNR insists on the storage tank? Do we know that?
well, so the DNR's recommendation was that our tank that we needed to be completed by 2026. So I don't know exactly what happens, but I do know if the DNR comes in, then they control the whole project.
Okay,
So-
'cause I know that's what happened with the sewage treatment plant. We were ahead of the DNR on that, so that ended up saving us a lot. That's how long I've lived here, so.
Yeah. Right, because that would have been like 2010.
Yep.
Right, 2010?
So I just trying to get more information out there, so.
My question is, why did we not bond, or why is the bond amount not $400,000 less? If we have $400,000, why is it not that way?
It is less 4,000.
So that's
400,000,
still, so 400,000 plus the,
yes. So this will be
1.25.
400,000 less, which is why the
what about the
council,
lost? So it's, well, when I read it, it was like 4 million, so 4 million minus, and then it's split
400,000.
out into 2 loans, plus the 400,000 plus the lost funds?
yes, so if we were to use the 400,000 set aside. So basically, the other thing that we do, which one of you mentioned about the, Sure.
Sorry.
No.
The lost is how we pay the annual payment.
Yeah, that 89,000.
We're taking 89,000 from lost revenues
Annually. So that's
to make the
not
payments annually.
only 89,000.
Right.
right, that's
But
what
you
you
said you were saving it up,
From years
so that's
past.
what's been saved up?
No.
No, how much do we get every year in lost revenue?
About
60?
145 is the loss.
Oh,
You're thinking, right.
so we get lost, we get,
Report printed out for chance, that would show.
So they were used on other projects, and so this year's lost fund is gonna go to this.
we get more than 89,000 in lost revenue every year. So
Okay,
we use
About 145.
140,000, we have a lost balance.
okay,
Of, I don't know what it is, but, so we do like a chip seal money we use, and we do it for other projects around town, whether it's a, overlay or things of that nature, but, so what we're saying is annually we'll dedicate 89,000 to that
Okay.
$1.2 million loan, so that we don't have to levy on the taxes for it. And then the 2.376 we'll use water revenues for it, so.
So why did you come up with 89,000? That number.
That's the number of services alone.
Correct, so the 89,000 comes directly from our Spirit Financial. They put together, and Dorsey and Whitney put together a repayment schedule for a $1.25 million loan. And they put together a projection of 89,000 for the next, is it 20 years? So you asked, how much is in our local option sales fund? Currently, $364,000 saved in that, which is why the council decided that if we were going to do a repayment to help save the cost back to the residents on a loan, that we would have dollars, which Jeff said 145 annually comes in. Typically, in the last few years that I've been here, it's been used towards chip seal, which is approximately, I think the budget had 45,000 for each year for chip seal. So they knew going into the capital planning that they had enough that we could plan in our capital improvement plan without using those lost earmarked dollars, which of course still have to be used, but can only be used toward infrastructure projects, such as like a water storage and repayment. I went and got this though because there was one more question that somebody, I think Janet was a question that you were saying, so the loan. So the council went back when the first bid came in for the pump house. It came in way, way over what we expected for that. After analyzing it with the engineer, and I probably would have been mad at the time, and with the council, and with Trent, our public works superintendent, we decided that we were going to restructure what that would look like and put it back out to bid to see if we could save dollars by doing it and changing things up. And I can't even speak to exactly what we changed. But then it did come in, the pump house came in less than the first bid. So by doing those things and by showing our financial people that we do have $400,000 in cash that we would be able to use toward expenses that would not go into our loan amount. So if you take the total cost of the project that was shared, less $400,000 that the city could show that we could pay on engineer costs or anything that comes in, puts the, is it 3.6, let's just say, puts it back down to a total loan amount of 3.6 million. So that included the 400,000. So the options that we were talking about tonight were simply, how do we pay this back? The 1.25 million, we're going to use lost dollars that are already coming in to the city so that we don't have to increase the rates, which is what we had to do for the water revenue side of the loan, which is the 2.376. Does that make sense? And I certainly am not trying to talk down to anyone, but like, this is hard for me to explain out loud. So if I mess up or stumble, correct me, because we're trying to be as transparent as possible. And I just want to reiterate that this council had completely in mind, because all of us pay taxes, all of us pay water bills as well. They very much so were making conscious decisions based on trying not to raise the water rates. But in a situation, we have to do something. When our financial advisor is telling us, you either have to raise it 40% and $17 every month to each individual, we had to do something because the ordinance said that we were supposed to be increasing our water 2% every year when it was analyzed, and that was not happening every year. So you can imagine from 2013, was it 2013? I don't even know. Over that many years, we could have had a bit of a collected amount if we would have been analyzing it maybe a little more closely.
It all depends if you turn around and spend it or save it. You could increase it 2% every year and just throw it away like you have in other stuff.
Well, water revenue has to be spent on water operations. We can't just go buy a new.
Yeah, but you got two loans there. You got one for water that you're getting, the other one can come out of whatever you want to spend it on, correct?
No. So we have, right now, we have a 1.25 million and we have a 2.376 million. It's two separate loans,
Right.
but both are going to pay for our water storage tank and
But
pump
one
house.
doesn't have to come out of the water bill, right?
That's
Correct, but we're
So
saying
you
that
could,
one
instead of
point,
seal coating the street, took that money and paid the water tank. Correct?
what they allocated.
Right.
yeah, so we're still,
But they can
our
still
lost
cut back
funds.
on what they're doing on the other streets to pay the water bill. The water tank helps everybody in the town. Seal coating this one street helps the people on that street.
Well, if you take a look at the seal coating that the city has done, it's never been just one street. It's actually several streets in Urbana. It was identified 2 months ago, every single street that we did. And
Yeah, I think the point is, sure, we could take every loss receipt and put it towards the loan, but then that puts us in a bad position for a project that comes out of left field next year.
Right, I'm not saying.
So we didn't want to do that, and we were advised that that wouldn't be a good choice. So we're just, we have to take information in and make decisions. It's never easy. It's never, not everybody's gonna like it. But this is the best plan we can come up with based on advice from people that are very helpful towards us. So I understand the frustration, but I think that what we try to come up with is a good plan to minimize the impact to citizens.
The problem you have in this town, you got a lot of people who are on fixed income, elderly. And everything goes up, and then you turn around and slap them with an automatic, they don't even pay the minimum, and now you gotta pay another $10 on top. And they don't even use the minimum. That gets expensive water then, for them people. And they're the one that can't afford it.
And did you check around these other towns, Dick? We are not, definitely by far not the highest for water and sewer, rates.
I
You're
mean, I
all
think irregardless, I mean, we definitely took that into account, as Jeff said, and I mean, this decision wasn't something that we took lightly, that those are all things that we heard, we thought about, we talked about. I mean, like Jennifer said, this has been going on since 2023, so these discussions tonight are purely about the loan. If we wanted to have more discussion about the true project, those started happening in 2023. And we've been transparent.
Well, I don't know why we gotta go up another 5% on that. Yeah.
Can I just ask a really quick question? There was talk at the beginning of this, our sewer loan was gonna be paid off early. Can the money that was being applied there now go into the loan for the water because it's sewer water? Or do they have to remain separate? And is the intent of the city council to try to pay this tower storage tank off early if possible also? Or just let the life of the, if we have extra, apparently we're gonna have to dig a well, will it go for that?
That's a great question. Unless somebody else wants to answer. We shared this at our previous meeting. The recommendation was that, yes, we have been making additional payments on the sewer loan. The sewer loan will be paid off early, possibly as early as 2027. And again, this was a 20-year loan for sewer. And at that time, it's been suggested to the council that we follow the ordinance that says that we do an analysis of the sewer at that time. I doubt it would come down all the way, but there is certainly the option to lower the sewer rate for something. Or at that time, with the the state revolving funds, as long as you're showing that you are receiving up in that specific utility fund, when the other utility fund, SRF loan is paid off, they will analyze whether we lower the rates for the sewer. The issue then that happens is you take out a 20-year loan to fix the sewer issues that we had 20 years ago. Some cities, like Gary just said, some cities take out a 40-year loan, which would be like an is it FDA loan? The FDA loans, which are 40 years, which is not advised for a municipality, especially when we have a healthy budget, because then you're paying something back, and by the time you get to 20 years, the other one has the issues, because the life of these facilities that we're talking about are only 15 to 20 years. So if you're continuing to pay on a loan with an infrastructure that's already 15 to 20 years old, the goal has always been to pay it off sooner. And that is what the city has done. And they've made at least I think 6 additional $100,000 payments toward the sewer loan to pay it off. And the estimated payoff again is 2027. So.
It's probably ready to be rebuilt too, though, it's pushing.
That's a possibility.
It's not far from. So it's gonna start, which is part of it. That was part
Well, it just becomes part of that vicious cycle, which is exactly, I'm sure you guys know all of this information, by the time you can pay for something in an infrastructure, then it becomes 20 years old, you're just paying off the loan and now the other one does it. So it's kind of this vicious cycle, which is where I think, which was very well said, that, the council is put forward to make hard decisions, and the hard decisions come with analysis that is available to everyone. And of course, you can always come in or ask the questions or send an email or call. But they're decisions that definitely are not taken lightly, because they do land on 5 members, and they're hard decisions.
I think there was a question if we could take,
Is sewer and water separate?
it's separate.
Yes.
So
It's separate.
we wouldn't be able to just say, okay, we're collecting this $10 on sewer, we're gonna just put that to water. We would actually have to adjust and move that over to water. Right. So.
And we would have to reflect something like that in our ordinance, so that it's clear that right now it says water fee is the $10 capital fee. And I think there's probably a sewer fee.
And where's a well come out of that sewer, water, both? Could it be both? Or I'm looking in the future, trying to figure out where, if the sewer has to be replaced, and we have to dig a well, and we have to fill the storage tank.
I would say we're not gonna replace the sewer, it's been updated as we go.
Okay.
And it is built for 3,500 people, so we're not gonna tear it down and start over.
Okay.
So like the compressors and stuff like that are, obviously.
Okay.
Airlines, it's not a complete rebuild.
Just your general maintenance.
Right.
Okay.
But it is oversized, when DNR made them build it, it's 3,500, right?
I think so. That's on fire.
Yeah, I think
It
you're
was
right.
quite a bit.
I know, it was definitely
I think
oversized
it's
for
twice the population or something.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that answers my question, but it's just.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
And those are very good questions, and I just want to say ahead of time that I was not prepared for your question, Sherry, so I'm not an expert on the capacity of the sewer, and I didn't look anything up, so.
No, that's fine.
I would have to
know
look to
I was gonna
experts
ask
on
you.
the engineers of, what would that estimated be, I don't know.
Can you clarify the $10 fee that's been added onto the bill monthly? Where's that going in this picture, the big picture?
So right now, it is just being collected as that additional revenue. So it will show as part of our receipt up in the water fund. So right now,
Separate from lost.
separate from loss. So water fund, any water service fees that come in and a $10 service fee for water, all show going into the revenue for water. Just like your storm sewer goes, that you pay in your monthly bill, storm sewer goes separate to the storm sewer fund. Sewer all has to go separate to sewer. So they are all separate. So like if we were to make a decision and somebody in the council wants to say, hey, are we allowed to take $80,000 from the sewer to pay this if we have this additional funding? That would definitely have to be something that's voted on, and there would have to be a transfer. Does that help, like with your, so, but right now, those additional dollars at the end of the year, when we have any additional dollars in the sewer fund, it's going to make that extra payment to pay that loan off sooner. That's how it's been done in the past,
And just
like
for,
the past 6 years.
not to interject on you, but I mean, you stop and think about it, it doesn't seem like a huge accomplishment. But if we can pay the sewer loan off in 17 years instead of 20 for the maturation, that's actually a pretty big accomplishment.
That's progress.
So if all those, if we do vote on the tank and pass it, that we can pay it off sooner than.
Have a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Second. You second? Okay, it's been moved and second to close the public hearing, we'll vote. Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Baske.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber. Yes. And Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Okay. We have another one on the,
Yes.
B.
I'll make a motion to go into public hearing on the proposal to enter into a water revenue loan and disbursement agreement principal amount not to exceed 2.376.
Second.
Been moved and second to go into motion on item B. We'll vote. Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber. Yes. Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse. Yes. And Councilperson Baske.
Yes.
So then any comment on this?
No, and unless the public has more questions,
We kind of wrapped it all in there.
I think so.
All right, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Been moved and second to close the public hearing, we'll vote. Councilperson Huber. Yes. Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
And Councilperson Baske.
Yes.
Okay, so all of you had your staff reports. Were there additional questions with the staff reports that I could possibly answer or share back?
The park stuff is on our table. I mean, it's the same thing that we got.
Same thing that I emailed to you, but I wasn't sure if people didn't have a chance to look
I
at
got a
it.
question about the parks, whole parks and recreation. Don't we have a group of people for that?
Yeah.
Know the board. When was the last time we met?
It's a good question. I can ask Nathan. He's the parks playground.
Because we have this pollinator thing coming up, and Park and Recreation knows nothing about what's going on with it. That's a big concern to me. I mean, that, we have a board for that.
I guess I don't know what you mean by they don't know about it, because every piece of information is shared by email with the Parks Board and to the Parks, email.
My wife
And
has
usually
not,
this CC.
my wife has not received an email since the park was built. She was voted on the board by the council before I was ever voted in. I mean, I don't know, it kind of pisses me off because it's like she's being held in the dark. You can screw with me all you want, don't screw with my wife.
I don't think that this is a forum to discuss her being involved in that. I think if there's a concern with that, we should have a discussion.
Okay, I'm just,
I don't know, she's not getting communication, obviously that's a concern, but
yeah.
I don't think anybody's out to get anybody here. We're just trying to get through.
No, I understand that, it's just, we have stuff coming up for Park and Recreation with pollinator garden.
Has she reached out to Nathan?
She has, not getting a reply.
Okay, so then we'll address it outside.
Yep, I think we need to address it outside because every email that's been sent about the pollinator, everything gets sent to the Parks email as well as the entire Parks Board.
Okay.
So I am happy to share that with you outside of this meeting, and if it was a concern, I wish you would have shared it to me before tonight, or your wife should have shared it.
Well, some of my emails, like, I don't get emails from you, and all of a sudden, like today, 12 emails pops up from you.
Okay, I don't know how to respond to that because the group that the council is in and the mayor, it's all one group, so.
No, I
every email
understand that, I
gets
just don't know
sent-
why, all, like,
It sounds like an IT issue, I don't know.
yeah, I mean, I don't get a lot of emails, all of a sudden I get questions from people, I was like, I go to my email, there's nothing. And then all of a sudden, one day there's 12 emails that pop up.
Okay, so we can definitely have IT get into your account to see when you're receiving the emails and when they're being sent. Because again, you're bringing this up at a council meeting, and this is the first time I'm hearing that you're saying you're not getting emails. Has anybody else had this issue?
I'll have a discussion with you later. So it is transferred, it's fine.
It may come to your location too, if you're in a bad spot. You know, where you're got.
I don't think we're gonna figure it out here, so we can.
Okay. Let's move on to old business. Chapter 92, water rates. So we're gonna have a second reading on the ordinance 921 of chapter 92, water rates.
Could I possibly just, you know, our city engineer needs to get to another
Oh.
meeting. Is there any way that
That's
we
all
could
right.
possibly move forward to the award?
It's all right.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
We had talked before, but
Take your
okay.
time.
All right,
My wife will quickly gets to bed.
okay, sorry about that. Go ahead, Gary.
Okay. We're on the section A, is second reading of the ordinance 921 and chapter 92 of the water rates. And we did the first one in June, was it? Or July, I don't remember.
May or,
It was,
it's either May or June.
July, this is the second.
June is the discussion that we had. July was the first reading, which
Yeah.
was July 16th. It's on the actual ordinance that was sent, and it's 922, not 921. I think I made that
Oh,
mistake.
922.
It's 922. That's my mistake. It's on the agenda. It says 922. So yeah, second reading.
So you have, let's read it. I
Um,
don't have it in front of me.
So this is an ordinance amending the 2013 Code of Ordinances of the City of Urbana, Iowa by amending provisions pertaining to Chapter 92 utility billing rates. Section 1, Section Modified, Chapter 92, Section 02 of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Urbana is repealed and the following adopted in lieu thereof. 9202, Rates of Service. The chart is water shall be furnished at the following monthly rates. So this would show the gallons used per month for the first 2,000 gallons would be from $23 to $24.15, which is the minimum bill. 2,001 gallons and over goes from $9.60 to $10.08 per 1,000. Flat capital fee of $10, there would be no change. And again, this is the 5% increase that we just discussed. Brian, did you receive anything? Okay, so we did not receive additional comments from public hearing.
I'll motion to approve the second reading of the ordinance changes for 921, chapter 92,
922.
or 922, chapter 92 water rates.
Second. Been moved and second to approve the ordinance 922 of chapter 22 on the water rates. Any more discussion? Not, we'll vote. Councilperson Basky.
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse. Yes. Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Do we want to have to take action on waiving the third reading?
I'm fine with it.
You wanna?
I'll make a motion to waive the third reading.
I'll second.
Been moved and second to waive the third reading of ordinance 922. Any more discussion? If not, we'll vote. Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Councilperson Basky.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
And Councilperson Bendel. Oh, Councilperson Johnson, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, got everybody?
We keep getting you there, Gary.
Okay. Item B, review quotes received and consider resolution to award contract for the Urbana pollinator garden project.
Okay, so this is for our phase one of the pollinator project, which was awarded to the city last October 2024 with our previous park board. And
Yeah.
do you want to share the bids that came in for the 75,000?
The amount of the grant was 75,000. We got some really good quotes in. My cost estimate was 71,900. The low quote was received from a 2020 development company. They do business as Blade Works and also operate a nursery called Blooms in Marion. Their quote was $71,540.11. So room to spare there underneath the award. And I've talked to the owner of the company several times. He's excited. He loves the lead program. I think they're going to do a good job. So I recommend
It's really exciting.
award to 2020 Development Company through business as Blade Works for their quote of $71,540.11.
So that whole amount is a grant? We're not paying for it?
That's a grant.
And then that project will start next year then, correct?
No, so this one is our phase one, so before you guys were on council, we had applied for the REAP grant through the DNR. Last October, we were awarded the 75,000. And just this summer, we were able to get the bids together. So this will be for phase one, and hopefully completion for that first phase one would be November.
Yeah,
This
they're
year?
hoping to get most of it knocked out. They have to come back next spring and seed some grass down, or, as the plants become available. Because some of these that are required to put in like 3-gallon pot plants, so they're established and they take off right away. So, they gotta grow those in the greenhouse for a little bit. So it sounds like I said, they operate under sure themselves. They're gonna be supplying their own plants. And I think he said we have all the plants you spec except for one in stock right now. So,
That's impressive.
yeah, they may be able to knock it out all entirely this fall. So,
Okay.
You think they're gonna start breaking ground as soon as this is done?
oh, I mean, we have to go through some other steps. They have to still order other materials, schedule. I think they have 1 or 2 subcontractors they haven't bring on board yet. So it won't roll into it immediately, but soon.
My concern is the roots won't get established in time for the roots. And
So-
then we wasted resources.
So it's specified, the plants, that's the one plant that he says he doesn't have in stock is the one that will potentially, he will come back in the spring and do. The other ones, per the specifications, planning guidelines, there's all sorts of landscape architecture specifications. The plants that we are specifying will do just fine if they get them planted, within sometime in the fall. They're not gonna do it, in December. But that's the other reason why a lot of these that were specified are 1 gallon, 2 gallon, 3 gallon pots. So they are established. There is watering, in the contract. There is a maintenance period for all the plants. So if any of them do die and they don't come back next spring, summer, they're on the hook to come back and replace them. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
I got one question. If I recall right, we're talking about purchasing more property for this pollinator garden, correct?
Say that again?
You were wanting to purchase more property for the pollinator garden?
Yes, that would be a phase two, which
Okay.
is what was on the agenda for, so the REAP grant is due this Friday. And the city of Urbana just presented yesterday at Benton County Conservation for the phase 2 of this grant. And we are going for the full 75,000 again as well. This particular situation was discussed previously in closed session because it involves real estate, which that is not public unless someone outside of the council meeting or the owners of the property decided to make that public. But the city did engage in conversations about purchasing a nuisance property that would expand into a park area. That is written into this specific grant for acquisition of a property. The city also did a waiver of retroactivity so that if the property does become available and the city can agree on a price of a property, then that would be retroactive and grant funds would be able to be used to pay for that particular property, which again is phase 2, and we're talking about the award for phase 1. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, I was just concerned that the money for that, if we did buy the property, it comes from a grant.
Again, this was discussed in a closed session, so I do feel a little bit improper that you're asking this in a public session when you know that it was closed. It does involve real estate and you were here. So I want to be very careful because it's not the city's obligation to share that information. It would be a property owner that owns it to share that. But yes, there is the possibility that if the city acquires the property, that it would be paid for either by city funds or it could be paid by the grant.
I have a question. How much tax base do you get off the park and how much is on their house?
We can address that some other time. I think we need to move forward with this resolution.
That's what the park.
2025-141, motion to approve.
Yeah, consider resolution 2025-141 to award contract for the repollinator park phase 1.
I'll second.
Did you make the motion? I'm sorry. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? Now we'll vote. Councilperson Holhouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Consider resolution 2025-137, a resolution establishing a public health insurance opt-out stipend policy for eligible full-time non-bargaining employees.
Do we want to have this conversation or did you guys, I forgot to mention that after the public hearings, the 2 resolutions that were the 2 loan resolutions. Do you want to go ahead and do those? I forgot to mention that after the public hearing.
Oh, and
If not, that's fine, and go ahead to the next one. It's just, I didn't think there would be further conversation with those, if you wanted to.
you mean under new business? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Okay.
typically we approve those after the public hearing and we're back in open session, but if you don't
Okay.
want to do that, that's totally fine.
We'll go on to new business. We can come back to item C. Consider resolution 2025-142, authorizing and approving the loan and disbursement agreement, providing it for the insurance and general obligation of water improvement bond series 2025, and providing for the levy of taxes to be paid the same.
Which I do just want to say, they have to put that in there about levy of taxes the same, because if for some reason in the next 20 years, we were to lose our loss funding, which is how we would plan to pay this back, we have to put that in there, that the city does have the option to levy taxes if that would happen. Sorry.
A motion to approve resolution 2025-142.
I second.
Any more discussion? Not we'll vote. Councilperson Holhouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Consider resolution 2025-143, taking additional action on proposal to enter into a water revenue loan disbursement agreement.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 143.
And I'll second.
Any more discussion? Now we'll vote. Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasky.
Yes.
Okay, now you want to go back to, item C. Be on resolution 2025-137.
So Jennifer and I met with Jennifer from Team Care, Monday?
Yes, Monday.
To get some of the outstanding questions from our last meeting that we had regarding our, non-bargaining agreement, participating agreement with Team Care, which is the organization that we use for our, employee health insurance. We have essentially, a agreement. There's two separate agreements really. So there's a contract and an agreement with the bargaining, team members, and that is outside of this discussion. So, what we did learn is that our most recent contract, from negotiations with the union, the Team Care does not have that most recent contract. So Jennifer was sending that on to them. And then the secondary unit that we have an agreement, participating agreement with is for our non-bargaining team members. And that was, we entered into it, the city of Urbana entered into the agreement in 2018. And as part of that agreement for the non-bargaining team members for the city of Urbana, we, during that 2018 timeframe, we would have been able to opt in or opt out. Our team members would have been able to opt in and opt out. From that time forward, both the team members at the time chose to elect to opt into the insurance. So once that initial agreement was agreed upon and signed, it stays into effect. It does not term out unless the city of Urbana enters a termination notice of 30 days, which I've gotten conflicting. One time she said 60, one time she said 30, so I need to read through the details, but we have to give either a 30 or 60 day notice to terminate our agreement, our participating agreement with Team Care. So at this time, what we learned is that when Jennifer came on in November of 2023, we would not, as a full-time employee, we are not allowed to opt out. So we have to report any new team member, regardless of it being a new team member, any organizational change that we have, if we bring on new positions, if they are full-time, greater than 30 hours, we have to report that in our monthly reporting to Team Care. At that time, that's when the process is initiated to then send the new team member their enrollment paperwork, get them all established with all of the benefits that come along with this agreement with Team Care. Because we did not know that, there's no policy stating this within the city of Urbana. When Jennifer was getting hired on, the previous clerks didn't do that reporting, and so at this time, that position has not been reported to Team Care. Same thing when we brought on our deputy city clerk onto full-time and then brought in a new one, that also needed to be reported. Up until in the last month is really when that was all notified. I do want to just call out, Jennifer had sent an email, and we do have the email. She had sent the email to Team Care in early December, within the first 2 weeks of her employment with the city, saying that she was a new hire, she was looking to get the information on insurance, and was notifying Team Care that we did have a new team member starting, Jennifer. She was looking for the information. There was no communication back from Team Care at that time on what needed to happen to start that process, and that it needed to be reported in that very specific monthly report out. Same thing happened when we were bringing on our deputy city clerk. We reported we have a new person. Again, never told that this is how you report them. So we've now gone on since November of 2023, not reporting our non-bargaining team members, and we are not allowed per the participation agreement to opt out. So if we are to continue with Team Care, our team members, our non-bargaining team members do not have the option to opt out. They have to take the insurance and we have to pay for it. We also have the discussion of, well, okay, so we haven't been paying for this and reporting since November of 2023.
And no benefits were
And
received.
no benefits were received, right? So what do we need to do per the agreement to rectify this? And at that time, Jennifer stated that she would need to take that to her leadership team, but she needs a decision or would like to know which direction the city plans to go, whether that be to terminate the agreement with Team Care or to continue the participating agreement as is. Some of the things so there are different dates for participating agreements that are out there. Those are purely for the rates and the premiums. It has nothing to do with whether or not we are entering into a new participation agreement. That agreement started in 2018 and it will continue as is until the city elects to terminate. A question I did ask her today was if the city were to elect to terminate that unit, so our second unit, our non-bargaining unit, terminate that so that we don't offer those team members insurance. If we were to decide in the future that we wanted to then offer again, could we then restart a participation agreement? And the answer was yes, but it would change. We would have to go through the negotiation process again. We wouldn't potentially get the same rates for premiums and those things. So we did notify Brian Fagan, and he had already been notified of this and has been looking through the agreements.
Which was in April when the agreements came to me for the first time.
Yes, and Jennifer from Team Care is requesting that Jennifer sign the participation agreements that has been sent. There's 3 of them. One they had sent was wrong. Very quickly on Monday, I realized that it's a mess on both sides, really. So at this point, we are not signing them until Brian Fagan reviews them. He is looking at them. He did email or respond back stating that he was bringing in his a benefit specialist from his law firm to review this. So what next steps is we just need to let Jennifer know what direction. The other Jennifer. What direction the city is thinking that we may go. And I don't know if we are at a point to make that decision at this point without having Brian weigh in. I think we could make a decision on whether or not we move forward with terminating. But some of this back work, I think will still have to happen.
Which I also said I was not comfortable signing a contract that's being retroactively dated to prior to me coming on. Again, I told Amanda I would feel more comfortable if the city attorney reviewed that because I don't want it to be something where I'm going to sign something that retroactively basically makes the city pay for a benefit that was never taken by me. So I don't want to sign a contract that's not being reviewed by legal first, is what I said.
I did let Jennifer D from Team Care know pretty strongly in our discussion on Monday that whether or not, as she's talking about it with her leadership about what happens with from the time frame that we had not reported to present, and not being able, per our agreement, to opt out, even though we haven't taken the benefit. I did say, I would hope it was taken very strongly into consideration that we did notify them. It may not have been in the mannerism that their policy works, but we had asked and were not given directive on how that process
And
worked.
they were notified when Ryan came on as well, which is where it was like, we need more information, we need more information. So they were notified, there's just not been a follow-up to anything.
So you really think that probably in our best interest is to wait to hear back from Brian before we take any action on that?
I mean, my recommendation is yes, probably that. However, after talking with them and going through this exercise, I feel that we should keep an open mind to terminating the participation agreement with Team Care. And if we were to do that.
For non-bargaining.
For non-bargaining,
Okay.
yeah, I want to be very clear, like, we can't do anything
Right.
with the other unit.
Which
would
this was
purely
also, I think I was very clear about this. There's no issue with the bargaining unit. There's no issue with the Team Care and whether or not it's good healthcare or the cheapest healthcare, and it's very good healthcare. Again, that's not at all what this is about. It's really about this non-bargaining unit.
I agree, but what I don't agree with is, and where I feel like potentially it could be in our best interest to terminate, is how some of this was handled. So this is not, I've done my research, this is what I do for a living, this is not the norm. And it's not just, when I say that, it's not just because they don't give us an opt-out option, it's the efficacy of which has transpired with this whole situation that I have the biggest problem with.
Yeah, I think at a very base level, I think the city should be able to offer full-time, or health benefits to our full-time staff without any strings attached. It should, I personally don't think there should be you have to take this coverage, no matter what. Like, I don't, maybe that's normal. I didn't do any research on other communities or other options for healthcare, but at a base, I feel like we should be able to offer health benefits. Now, the stipend question, again, I'm not in favor of just a cash stipend. If there was an option for like some form of health savings account, where we're paying into like a medical account that can be used to cover healthcare costs, maybe that's a plan we can look into. I don't know. I didn't do any research on that. But as far as Team Care and this relationship we have from the non-bargaining side, yeah, I would be in favor of terminating that agreement.
I agree with that.
So then if that's what we would do, I still think that, I mean, we're gonna need Brian Payton involved, because I likely think that there was posture in that conversation and wanting to know where the city was headed to base what they're going to do with the retroactive piece of this.
That was my thought too, is.
Yeah, there was posturing there for
Right.
sure.
It may be a heftier correction than if. But yeah, I don't know that, I think you had said something about they were looking for a response right away, or?
She would like a response tomorrow after our meeting tonight, which, again, this has been going on since 2023. Brian just responded today, so I don't know that we are in a position to respond tomorrow.
I wouldn't want to make a decision tonight without having feedback from council.
It's not on the agenda, by the way.
So,
It's not an item to vote on.
you want to table this resolution?
Resolution 2025-137.
On the stipend, yeah.
Okay, so if there's a motion to table,
Second.
I'm sorry,
Made the motion.
who made the motion?
I make the motion.
Okay. And then moved and second to table resolution 2025-137. Any more discussion? No, we'll vote. Councilperson Holthouse.
Yes.
Councilperson Johnson.
Yes.
Councilperson Bendel.
Yes.
Councilperson Huber.
Yes.
Councilperson Basky.
Yes.
Okay, looks like we're on to the work session, employee handbook. I think mine is in the,
Your, Gary, I might have yours actually. Maybe I don't. I thought I had your copy, but this looks like an older copy to me.
So for Josh, Scott, and Randy, did you guys have a chance to review this?
I've read through most of it.
And then I worked with Jennifer, last winter, last fall, even probably, to help put this together. Is there anything outstanding that we could do that way?
I think the biggest piece I felt like was the discussion about moving to PTO versus vacation.
And I also still have highlighted the short-term disability and long-term disability because that's something that currently is offered to those that take the healthcare. Those of us that do not take the healthcare, the conversation that we just had, we do not have short-term disability in the city, and we do not have long-term disability in the city. So I feel like there's a couple things in here that I've highlighted with us not having clarification yet with the non-bargaining and how we can move forward with that just yet. The other things like the PTO that was in there, did the calculations, which basically just means it's PTO time. So whether you're taking vacation or you're sick or your child is sick or whatever, it just makes it all a PTO bank, which some people may or may not be familiar with. And of course, if people still need more time to review it. Do you not have a copy?
No, I don't.
Oh, you must have taken it with you.
I probably
the
did.
previous one. Ryan, are you able to make a copy of this for Andy, like a front to back copy? Just so- Did anybody else not have one that they wanted? to
I
look
have
at?
one, but I just don't have it here, so.
Josh, did you want to print a copy or you
I'm
want to
fine.
put it on your line? Okay.
Yeah, I think the big thing was with the PTO was the cash out. I think we had some discussions around that. Get to the end of the year, do you want to pay them out cash or can they roll over a certain amount of time? I mean, personally, I like the idea of people taking their vacation, instead of taking a cash out, but That's just my take on
People are better off taking vacation time than taking a cash out, because if you take a cash out, you're paying 35% tax on it.
it. The PTO accrual schedule that we have listed here, where did we grab that? Is that, do you remember?
Right, that's my copy. So he's making copies so that Randy has.
I know, but do we?
Yeah,
we-
so a partial of it was taken from Johnston Center Point, but when Ryan was looking at the, can I just look at yours?
Yeah.
At the, yes, so we looked at like what our current, contract for,
Union, but
yes, thank you. Like what was in the union contract in terms of accrual? We looked at that, what does it look like, but I feel like, if I had that in front of me, I'd be better.
I was just curious, so when we have the accrual maximum, what is the, I forget what we're saying the max means, that's what you can have in your bank at any time based on a carryover? So if you're within your 0 to 5 years of service, the maximum you can have to take at any given point is 222.
Yes,
So
So,
you
I
can
think-
carry over hours and.
right, is that how you understood it
That's-
too, Amanda? I think the max
What we
was
call
the
that out, if there was a carrier.
page 31.
That was pretty quick.
Can you look at page 31 too, Ryan? I might
Yeah.
pull you in on this conversation. It was
Got
just
that.
when we had our discussions. Oh. Tell me again, the PTO's on the page. 31, 30, 31.
So, okay, so on the PTO accrual schedule that is on page 29, 0 to 4 years, the
Oh, I don't have it.
I think you
I
have
have
a
the old
version of that.
The hourly-
Ryan, can you send me a copy? Jeff just realized he's got
bi-weekly rate is 5.85, which then the, in parentheses, the 152 hours is annual. But I thought we called out the rollover amount separately. It should be separate than what the accrual schedule is, because the accrual schedule is just saying, based on their number of years of service, this is how many per pay period they're accruing, and this is how many that equates to in a year. So like, if you look at the 20+ years of employment, each pay period, they're getting 10 hours and 46 hours bi-weekly, which equates in a year to 272 hours is the way I would read that. But somewhere in here,
Well,
I can't find it.
The contract, or the old one that I was reading, and had like a max hours next to it in parentheses, but this one doesn't.
Yes. Okay, I do have a clarification that Ryan and I were working through, that I'm just remembering as you brought this up, which was per our conversation. So Ryan, do I have that sheet that we worked on for that? Yeah. So when Ryan and I started having these discussions, it's all of our handwritten stuff. Yes, where is that?
I think what you have in the PTO book, like in front of you, is accounting for the vacation time that we currently have, the personal days, and then, half of the sick leave that people are currently
Yes,
accruing.
so we
was
cut
rolled
the
into
sick
that.
leave like in half of what it currently was.
And then the remainder of that, we were considering
doing like the medical lead bank.
I haven't, I think I broke that out for you guys a while ago in an email. Let me just go see if I can find that. Hold on. And our little.
So what happens to the sick days that are already acquired?
I mean, when this comes, if.
Yeah, like if this is implemented.
Like Luke and Trent have been here 20 years, what happens?
It doesn't-
That wouldn't apply to them. This would just be non-bargaining.
This is only for non.
Yeah, they're the bargaining.
Yeah.
So what if you're here for 20 years?
If we change now, then we'll know exactly how it'll be. So
He can have up to 720 hours medical leave, like,
so
every year.
But medical bank is different than.
it is. So I think for me, this, because I'm so new, if we wanted to do things, we could even just retroactively implement the new system back to my date of hire. Everything would be very clean for me.
Right.
I don't know about Denver. I don't think that we outlined in there a way of transitioning.
No, there is no outline on transitioning. We'd have to prorate,
But our contract would have to change.
yeah.
Is to talk about, okay, the cash out. It makes it a little cleaner, I guess. As far as tracking.
So this original agenda, I just want to point out, this was the committee going back and forth.
Yeah, I thought
In
there
the
was.
initial one, and you said, here were the 4 things that we still have regarding which, I don't know if you want to take a look at that, because that's what you initially had sent, that you were letting Jeff know what we were continuing to talk about, I think, that were concerns from the previous, and that was like in June. If you wanted to review that, maybe that would help.
Okay, so that doesn't really help me though, on where we were with,
Do you have this one, the one that says the breakdown of how we're looking at the PTO one? Yeah.
total hour, it still doesn't talk about what an employee could bank. So like, this total leave per hour, or an hour per year, a team member would get that every year, but if they don't use it, that's what we're looking to define. I don't know that I don't see that anywhere. So we would need to define whether or not we allow for carryover, and if we do, what that number is.
Well, I mean, that's the
And that's-
cash out schedule.
Right, well,
That's paying out cash for unused time up to a certain hour. To me, that means you go back to 0.
if they elect to cash out.
Right. But it doesn't, yeah, I guess it doesn't explicitly say you can carry over up to or.
Right, I think that we would need to add, if we were going to move to a PTO bank style, we would need to explicitly say, this is the amount that is allowed to be carried over, if we are willing to do that. And then the cash out schedule to me is something completely separate. That to me is do we allow cash out for what has been banked? And for what they have banked, well, so let's just say, well, for an example, if we allow an employee to carry over and bank up to 320 hours, and then we have also a PTO cash out schedule annually, they would have to elect that they're going to cash out of whatever that bank is, 40 hours or 100 hours just to make it clean. They would then, like, let's say that the team member has their max, their 320. They wanted to in that year allow and elect to cash out 100 hours, and we would have to pay that out to them. They would still continue to earn in that new year we'll just go with the 0 to 4 year. They're gonna continue to earn 152 hours. That's probably a bad example because that team member is never gonna have in that first 4 years, probably. Well, yeah, they would. They could have up to 320 hours in their first 4 years. And by year 4, let's say, they haven't used any PTO. They're up to 320, they're up to their max. Now they want to cash out the 40 hours that they, per this handbook, will be able to elect to cash out. That would just bring them down from the 320 minus the 40, and they would still have carrying over. The thing about a PTO bank that from a city and a budgetary perspective is that carries a lot of risk with allowing carryover, because at that and having to cash out, whether that be an annual cash out, like they can elect to choose to take that out or cash that out at the end of the year, or however we decide we allow them to elect to do so. Typically, what I've seen is that at the time of open enrollment, you would then say that you're going to elect to cash out 40 hours. I'm going to cash out 40 hours in this year of my PTO bank. And you get one time, like it's not throughout the year, like, oh, I'm gonna take, like middle of the year, I'm gonna take this. And that is to allow for budgetary reasons, right? So you know, like this team member is elected to do this, I'm gonna have that foresight to plan ahead. The other thing then is the risk of, and we would need to decide if we're gonna, and I think it's called out in here. If a team member were to leave and they have a max of 320, and per this handbook, that's what we say is that we're going to pay that out upon their departure. That also carries a risk from a budgetary standpoint, because then if you have someone who maxes it out, you have 320 hours that you need to pay to them.
Well, they thought that even worked because they wouldn't be making the same wage when we started collecting it.
Exactly.
So
Again, risk.
Yeah, the whole.
So like, we're still looking at though the payout one would be up to 100 hours, even though the first one on the email is just our figures of what currently is available, and then the bottom one below it that says all week minus half of the year was sick is the one that's actually proposed on the schedule, right? This
Yeah,
one?
we're just talking about
Or this one?
cash out.
Yeah.
Like, I'm personally not in favor of like an annual cash out of hours. Like, it should be
Use it.
use it, not necessarily lose it, but use it or carry over a certain number of hours. That's how my organization does it. You get a lot of vacation, but if you don't, you need to use it, otherwise they're gonna cut you down to a certain number. You'll just lose it. I would prefer to go with that approach, just because it's.
And one, another example would be, opposite to that would be, there is a cash out, again, so like how my organization does it is there is a cash out, you would like to do it, you can only elect one time a year, and you pre-plan that you're going to elect to do that. You also have to You can only take 40 hours. It doesn't matter how many years of service that you've had. You can only elect 40 hours and you have to maintain 80 hours in your PTO bank because it's for like holiday pay as well, right? So on those paid holidays, our PTO bank is used. So we have to maintain 80 hours if we're going to take the buyout option. We have to have 80 hours in our bank. So it is a way, the reason it's that way, right, is so that if you have someone who is not using their allowed amount within the year and they're starting to creep up to that max amount that you can have, you're then allowing them to buy that down lower, so your risk is lower. Does that make sense?
I feel like everything you said needs to be summarized, like on a little piece of paper.
Sorry.
Because it's all good options. I'm just having a super hard time following all of it. Like, just so we all can compare.
I'm nerding out over here.
Yes, no, I personally appreciate that we have somebody in here that has the expertise in this area. Again, this is not something like particular, it's just, the sample handouts and the discussion is great. So I just feel like I'm a very visual person, so we might need to get a recap of all of those options so that.
Certainly put that into, and I don't know, as we're talking this through, this is trying to do a work session for, it took us how many work sessions to even put this, a draft together of our employee handbook. I don't know if at this point I don't know what would be helpful to the others who haven't been part of these conversations. Do we just need to go section by section and just work through it? We're already, I think our initial goal was to have this live for
last year.
Right.
Last fiscal year.
Last fiscal year, and then this fiscal, now we're headed into this fiscal year. Is it the goal where we add this to our next how many meetings? Because this is all big decision making, and I would hate to rush through it and make some of these changes like a PTO bank change without everybody understanding it.
I agree.
Well, what we could certainly do, which I love that idea, so what we could do is in the next few agendas, have the same work session piece on the agenda and break out the handbook over, however many work sessions it takes. And then that way breaking it down into smaller chunks, just then putting out to the whole council, we're just going to discuss, pages 2 through 4 or sections 1.
Yeah.
And any information, thoughts collectively that anyone has after reviewing that, I can compile it, like everybody's thoughts, so that we come into this okay, I reviewed this section, here's my thoughts, here's everybody's thoughts on a collective piece of paper. It just might help the session work through a little quicker with everyone's thoughts ahead of time, because then if there's any work I can do or research that Brian can do ahead of time, or say you want something from other cities, it allows us to prepare more information for the decision-making process for all of you, if that's helpful.
Yeah, I was just looking, there's 7 sections. I think the first few sections could go relatively quickly. I think that's a good idea if we just say, next meeting, we're gonna dedicate our work session on the employee handbook to section 1 through 3 or 4, yeah. 1 through 4, yeah, and then,
Because really,
Get that
1 through
knocked
4
out.
is pretty much your general.
yeah. And that way we can be a little bit more focused in our discussion, because otherwise, we're
Be all over the place.
be all over.
Squirrel.
Yeah. Especially by this time of the day.
Yeah.
Well, and then we have this same question on health benefits, and I did see there's a flex spending section in there. So, we have other things we need to iron
No,
out.
long-term, short-term disability. Basically, yeah.
So,
So if we're
And I-
shopping for new healthcare.
I wonder if we need to, as a goal for us, have this ready to roll out and be finalized before our budget cycle. Because I think some of this is going to impact the way in which we budget.
I agree.
I can put together like a tentative timeline for us for the next couple regular meetings that we have and how the sections could break out. Obviously, like this section takes a little more conversation. I can also provide like some focused questions in this area, or like Amanda had given those 4 bullet points to the committee, like, okay, here's what I think we really need to still focus on. Sharing that, and then of course, any feedback that I can get ahead of time, I can compile into a work session document that we can review based on questions that everybody has, just to keep us all laser
I
focused.
think that's fair. So realistically, we probably want to have this wrapped up by January-ish,
We could.
February-ish. Or sooner.
Okay, so that section right there, we'll just have some sub areas underneath it where it says employee handbook, and I'll try and prepare that before the September meeting.
Want to move on to the comprehensive planning then?
Sure. So, as you guys know, I was creating the binders to help maybe organize the process that we're going to go to, because this is going to start, and then ECOG is also going to provide documents. So I thought that for some of us, I'm very visual, even though I send emails, I like to have them printed off so I can reference them or look at them. And I cannot seem to do it on my phone. So I do have in here just the very first steps. I was in communication with ECOG. Very first thing, so I'm hoping this will be planned that they will come and give an overview at September's meeting. So I will actually put that on my list of things to do, to reach out to ECOG again. So the first thing that I sent to all of you about our first step for the comprehensive planning is going to be the email that I sent with the memo regarding the steering committee. And I put that first here in the binder. That basically just says that throughout this process with our community and the, 10-year comprehensive plan, future planning, we're going to want to put together a committee, they called it a steering committee, of 8 to 12 members, typically no more than 15. And they provided us with some suggestions of who would be on that steering committee that would be doing some of this community work prior to or after council meetings, obviously, because we can't do all of it here. Elected officials, city staff, planning and zoning or other commission members, business owners, nonprofit leaders, chamber of commerce representatives, school board or school staff, developers, builders, library board staff or volunteers, interested residents, others with perspectives in the community, events, history, or recreation. So I thought maybe the first step of this, which could be just simply the council members, if you guys could provide specific names of people within the community that you think would play a good role in this for our planning. I also included just this second, letter that would be a sample letter that we could send. Yeah.
Question, is a council member eligible to be on it?
It says elected officials, so I would say yes.
Okay.
It also says city staff. Yeah, so I wouldn't see why not. We
Well,
have subcommittees that
I
are,
would like to put my name to go on it.
okay. So basically, I think just collectively from all of you to help with this process, maybe supplying some names of anyone that you feel could fit one of those. Because as you know, that will probably be a thing that we could send out, because we can send out as many letters as we would like, I think, to invite people. And then based on that, we can try and select individuals that would be part of the committee. But I think getting as many names as possible would be great, because even though we invite them, some people have prior commitments and maybe would or would not be interested. So that's why I provided a sample letter, that I just thought that you know, as we start throwing names out there, that we could start at least inviting people to say, hey, would you have an interest in serving on this community or committee? I think I even put in that sample letter, that they had told us that over the course of like a year and a half, that it would be like 2 to 5 meetings maybe. Which most of those then are all prepared, like committee, community discussions, those are all presented and prepared by ECOM, part of our contractual. So they would actually lead this, work.
Great, so you wanna just
I think if you guys
target
are
us
okay.
getting a list of.
Yeah, if you guys are okay with, maybe if you can find the email that I sent that has this memo, sharing just any ideas that you have of anyone that's maybe currently on one of those boards, commissions, city staff. I feel like, for example, the building inspector should be on there, city engineer should probably be on there because a big portion of it is land use and, or commission or planning, zoning commission. So it's really, and then of course, I just added the sidewalk assessment in there, because we had, Ryan and I both actually attended a webinar, a week ago, was that last week? Gosh, I don't even remember. About the process that cities can go through, to do sidewalk assessments for your community. I did not know this, but ECOG shared during that training that they actually do like a, what did she call it? Like a high level view of assessment, basically like they went to all the cities within our region and just did like a from the car type visual of, yes, this is, there's a color coding system, good, fair, poor, no sidewalks, to basically just give cities a high level view of your highest needs that could be seen visually. Again, I think Ryan and I both realize this is very like generic. We have areas that, a lot of areas with no sidewalks, but just gives you that, and it's enough for, I like to say like grant writing type things that you can say like a percentage of this portion of your town has no safe routes to school. And I wanted to put this specifically in here because we did have a few improvement plan that were actually sidewalk related, that this could potentially be some really good data for. The other piece that was brought up is there are other communities that do like, what was it called? Like a phase of sidewalk assessments that potentially they focus on over, I don't know, like over 4 years, 5 years, they split the city into like quadrants or whatever and say, you know, during our phase 1, the city's going to allocate X number of dollars to help improve these sidewalks type thing. But the nice thing about that is that you can take that initiative that the city's already using and possibly put grant dollars toward that initiative to say, you know, the city is going to use $20,000 of RUT dollars for street improvements or sidewalk improvements, and maybe we get a grant for $100,000. And so it shows that the city's willing to do like a match portion to improving our sidewalks in town. Do you have anything else you wanted to add to that, Ryan, based on like our training that we like attended? It was pretty high level. It's intended to be a quick talk or a turbo talk, I guess.
And I think just one thing related to that is it would probably do us well to put together like an objective assessment of sidewalks around town. If we are looking to put dollars towards it, not just like a windshield assessment, so that we can grade properties, if you will, that are interested in cost sharing, if they would want to like improve their sidewalk, then we could split the cost on that and benefit the city that way, but have an objective way of ranking those properties and allocating that money.
Vinton does a $500 rebate if you tear up.
Yeah,
There
we've seen a
certain places
couple
do different
that we
ways,
started.
yeah, some will do a 50-50, some will, Yeah, some do a percentage based on what they grade your sidewalk, so that the worse it is, the more the city will pitch in to replace it, like those sorts of things.
Richland won't have any front yard to put sidewalks in, guys.
Oh, it can be done.
Okay, any more discussion?
So next steps on that then, do we
I feel
want?
like it should be part really of this comprehensive planning, because before, like Ryan said, there would be a lot of steps, like we're surface level researching it, I kind of put Ryan on that as a little bit of a project too. Because, agreed, it needs to be a little more high level than we drove through your town and looked out the window type thing, which I don't wanna insult that process at all, because it is a high level. And when you do, 50 cities or however many they did. But if we were gonna put dollars toward it, I think that we would wanna have a system that we've researched other cities, which we're starting to do, who's out there doing it, who's having success with it, who's offering rebates. I think Trent shared when we were doing our comprehensive improvement planning, that oftentimes always when there's a street project, the ADA requirement to improve sidewalks is so comprehensive and it costs more. So those are typically rolled into those specific projects, so. Anything else you can think of? Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I second.
And moving second to adjourn, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Who was that, Josh and?
Yep.
Thank you.